Okay, so I'll be just ready to
Yeah,
get started then.
I believe there is no time like the present to dive right in. And so, the story begins as most stories do, and that's going to be with the date. It is the 20th of September in the year 2010. It's getting dark earlier, summer is disappearing, but here where we're starting our game, in Ireland, the season has been unseasonably warm, which is pretty unusual for Ireland, particularly around the area of Dublin. It's not really renowned for its long summers. The party itself is staying in a hotel. It's in a place called Glendalough, which is very nice and scenic and a little bit rustic. And you're all paid up for the next coming week. Any longer than that, and our players will have to start throwing their own money around. Originally, you would have all met in Dublin, as far back as a couple of days, where happenstance would have brought you to the same job offer. There's a pub in Dublin, known as the Broken Table. It's thought of as the neutral grounds for humanity and the other side. And, okay, this story probably shouldn't have started with this date, it should have started with a different date. Supposedly, at some point during 1910, simultaneously across the globe, time distorted, just a hair's breadth, a fraction, and very few people noticed. And they would have been called crazy, but they were actually gifted, and what they felt was something pushing against the walls between worlds. What pushed through was what we oh so affectionately describe as the shadow kind. These are the beings of the other side, and they make up things like elves, orcs, goblins, trolls, snake people, bogeymen, ghosts, the fae. It turns out that some of those wizards and druids out there might not actually be that entirely crazy. That was 100 years ago. And in the most recent 30 or so, the shadow kind have gained more traction. Some have infiltrated the baseliners, aka the norms, the muggles of humanity. Not everyone is infiltrated, though, or assimilated. They have even assaulted them. Every now and again, at least once every 6 or so months, time will shift again. It will stop, it will compress, or otherwise become strange in very select places. And someone, some people, or something will come right on through. And it could be of their intention to come through from the other side, or it could have been a mistake, which can be altogether far more dangerous. And now fast forward again, back into our current normal time. These days, it's not impossible to wade through all of the crazy conspiracy theories out there and find out about the shadow kind. But they still aren't public knowledge, at least not yet. Back to the Broken Table, where you were offered a job. It was a possibly dangerous job, that's how they had it listed, because there was so little information available about the location. And the man hiring wanted to send in, essentially, a crew. The man was almost definitely a druid. You know, that kind of, he's a little wizened, never wore shoes, bit crazy, a lot of drunk. And he paid for the rooms and told you what information he did actually have. A week ago, a shadow kind, or shadow kinds, pushed through the wall between worlds above the Wicklow Mountains National Park. Some hikers went missing, but there's no evidence that they actually came to any harm. Sadly, since it's so close to the Broken Table and Dublin itself, no organisation or group is allowed to intervene, so it's going to sort of mercenary factions. And when I say no organisation or group, there are people who professionally try to deal with Shadowkind entering the world or existing in the world. But this close to the Broken Table, which is neutral ground, they are not allowed to operate, at least not in any legal sense. Apparently, a number of the more powerful Fae in the area have been sensing a great deal of discomfort, and they also attributed to the job's payment, which is why they've allowed for 4 members. The task for all of you is as followed. Identify the Shadowkind. It's possible, it's just a lost, scared, or confused person or being. And if possible, don't bring it to harm. The druid, in fact, gives you a contact number for just such an eventuality. However, if you are unable to resolve the matter peacefully, please destroy them. for the safety of the Shadowkind's continued hidden existence, and the safety of any innocents it may bring to or has already brought to harm. Last of all, keep an eye out for any operating groups. They have no jurisdiction this close to Dublin, and they are not allowed to order around any civilians. They may, however, make contact off of the record, and in such situations should be considered dangerous. And now, would everyone please like to introduce themselves?
Shall I go first?
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Okay, so...
First, your name, the name by which you'll probably be called.
on.
Oh.
Sorry. I just opened the your Twitch so I could pop out the chat, and it ambushed me with repeating all of your audio.
Ah, fair enough. I mean, everything I have to say is very important, so it's worth hearing it twice, but probably not at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time is really the big problem. So,
Yep, please introduce
My
yourself with your
character
name
would
and
have-
then your character, so that we also know who is who. It's always a good one.
okay. I am Mazendi. You might know me for always lurking in Scow's Twitch chat, or if you have a wider variety for